Hey guys, ladies and gentlemen, how are you today? I'm really delighted to do something very special today. I have the opportunity to interview somebody for the first time since about grade 12 when I interviewed my gym teacher for the school newspaper. But today I have with me Michael McCarron. He's been a businessman for 35 years. He's been part of real estate since 2006, and he was responsible for helping bring Exit to St. John. Currently, he is the supervisor for growth and development in Canada. And thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, hey, Robbie. Yeah, perfect, Robbie. You know what? It's such a pleasure for me to be here with you.
Cool, man.
You know, I know that you're a young real estate agent, and you've been very successful, and you've really come a long ways in a couple of years, Rob. And I can see a fabulous future for you. So. Thank you so much for inviting me here this morning.
Thanks, man.
I really appreciate it, man.
So I have a little, I have my questions written down here.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Perfect. Yeah, you gotta keep me on track, bro.
I gotta keep myself on track.
I gotta have a little structure, right? That's.
So maybe we'll just jump right into it. My first question is, maybe you can just say what you did before Exit and why you decided to join Exit. Kind of tell a little bit about your story.
Well, you know what I mean. Out of grade 12, actually, I completed high school and I went to work for the post office. Actually,
oh, really?
If you can believe this or not, yeah, I was a letter carrier for 5 years. And then I was working part-time in the hospitality industry, and there's a gentleman came along and offered me a job as a salesperson, said that thought that I had some great sales qualities and that I would be a good salesman in the hair care industry. And so I worked with him for about 8 years and then had the opportunity to take on a line and be the wholesale distributor for Joico hair care products. So I started that, Rob, in 1985. Really ironic, you know. It's I started with a van, basically with 4 different tires and $1,000 worth of product, and within an 8-year time frame, built that to about 20 salespeople and doing approximately about $5 million a year. So. Became a very successful operation over the years, and I had it for approximately 30 years, and I sold it in 2003, and I kind of semi-retired, and then I have a good friend of mine. His name's Ron Young. He was a top real estate agent for Century 21 at the time, and asked me if I would be interested in real estate. And at that particular time, knowing who I was, I knew the industry, and I just didn't feel that the industry would be for me. But I said to him that would be possible for me to meet the owner, because to me, real estate is two-dimensional.
The owner of Exit.
Of Exit, yeah. The owner of the franchise that Ron was thinking about buying, and I said, I'll give you my honest opinion of the business model, but I really would like to meet the person because I know that it's two-dimensional. You buy and you sell, and I don't, but he said this one's different. So to make a long story short, I met Steve Morris, came to St. John, and within 30 minutes, I truly understood his model in the third dimension of what he had added to real estate, and I was very intrigued by it. But what I was more intrigued by was his core values and his belief system. I wanted to know what his why was. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, I said, Steve, you know what? To me, real estate is people and systems. You've got to have a system in place, and it's all people driven. So what makes you tick? You know, you get up in the morning and you put your feet on the ground and tell me what's your why. I really want to know what your why is. Mm-hmm. And so that I can give Ron my honest opinion. And he said 2 things to me, Robbie. So I created a future for real estate agents where there's never been a future before. And I want to change the industry from ego to empathy. And I've been studying human behavior through the affirmation principle for 43 years in nutrition. And I'm just here to make a significant difference in people's lives. So then I knew that from my Joico days that what was really ironic is that the founder of Joico hair care products and Steve's values and core belief systems were the same. Right. So when I met Steve, I just knew that it was the right fit. And when he said he wanted to build it from a ego to empathy, that's what really intrigued me, because I knew that there was no in the real estate industry, the real estate agents are as good as their last transaction. So what really, really intrigued me is that the third dimension where agents could help me grow my company. So that's what really intrigued me, and it was really ironic because from that meeting I joined, I shook hands with Ron and said, Ron, you know what, we got something very unique here, and I think that we can do something with this. So we opened up a real estate franchise in 2006, and I was very, very excited to be part of that.
So 2006, you open Exit. How long would you have been involved locally?
I was involved with the franchise for about 2.5 to 3 years. I helped to build the franchise, and then I had the opportunity to go to work with the corporate office as a supervisor in growth of development to get involved in sponsoring, which is the third dimension that I had mentioned, to be able to help people become part of the company and to help the brokerage and brokerages with X to grow.
Right. Right.
So
What
there we go. That's the technical difficulties.
What about like your role now? What value does that bring to you? What's important about doing that for you?
Well, what's important for me now is that I teach an ambassador class, and the ambassador class to me has changed my life. Actually, it's basically the value of the class is to learn the 5 success pillars of Exit, what makes Exit unique, and also some public speaking, to teach public speaking as well. And I've done 12 ambassador classes now, which is a 2-day class. And basically what I've done is I've found people with a heart that have the ability to make a significant difference in other people's lives, and then take action to do that. And the fulfillment is for me is what comes from the class, and the strength. And for people to be, I know that public speaking, people would rather die, Rob, than publicly speak. And I was one of those. You know what I mean? I was a person that never, felt comfortable public speaking. And now, which is ironic with the ambassador class, I'm teaching it. And the fulfillment for me, and I've just basically, to be honest with you, I think I've found my purpose, and to be able to strengthen people and to make a significant difference in their lives. So it's very, very exciting for me.
And I've been a part of 2 of those now, and it's pretty powerful stuff. And if anyone ever has a chance to do it, just go ahead and do it, because added a lot of value to my life, and it's great to learn those skills and also learn what we're actually about at the same time. Just going to jump here to another question I have for you. It's related to real estate. What bad recommendations or bad advice do you hear that is given to new agents? So,
well, one of the things I hear is that it's a job. Real estate is a job. And what I'd like for young, new real estate agents is to truly understand that it's a career, that it's a lifestyle. It's a people business. The real estate business is simple, and it's not easy, and it's not for everybody. But if a person can get into this industry, and then that they can follow a system that has for them, so that they can have the ability to generate leads. Because when I'm out into the field and I ask the average real estate agent what they would do on an ongoing basis, on a daily basis, to generate business, then they don't seem to have a system in place that can help them do that. So it's not just a job; it's a people business, and that you have to have a system and follow through with the system to generate your business.
Because we are entrepreneurs, basically. We run our own businesses, so. That's
right, and then basically you're self-employed. One of the biggest problems, Rob, is when they come into the business, they're undercapitalized, not understanding that you are in business for yourself, and that it's going to take maybe 4 to 6 months before that you'll generate any business, and then you have to have capital in order for you to feel comfortable most importantly is so that you're focusing on what you want and not what you don't want,
Right.
to build up a receivable where it can cause a problem for, you know,
Right.
for real estate agents. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to a smart, driven professional about to enter real estate, and what advice should they ignore? I guess that's kind of the same question. But
Yeah, I
what
think,
advice
yeah,
would
like
you-
I think the most important is it's people and systems.
Systems.
Don't complicate it.
Right.
When I say it's simple, it's, you know what I mean, it's like the fear of rejection. When you're this real estate, basically, I feel is a lead generated industry.
Right.
And what do you do effectively each day to generate a lead?
Right.
And hypothetically, there could be 5 or 6 systems that whatever you feel comfortable with,
Right.
and that if the right fit for you,
Right.
then I think that's really, really important, is for you to be able to do that and do it consistently.
Right. So
To
it's
do it.
choosing what fits for you, and then doing it consistently and persistently. As you always tell
That's
me.
right, consistently and persistently doing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, what are you doing that the other person isn't doing to generate some business?
Right.
You know, because that's the simple part.
Right.
It could be as simple as passing out 5 cards a day.
Right.
And would you happen to know anyone who wants to buy or sell real estate
Right.
in the next 6 months? It's asking the question,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because
That's
we
one-
never know, Rob, how would I know if your sister or your mother or your brother's buying a house or
Right.
selling a house? I wouldn't know that, obviously, unless I asked.
Right.
So it's always the fear of rejection in
Right.
there. So
Yeah, they say everything comes back to 2 fears: fear of failure, fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's really interesting. What do we have here? This is more personal towards you, but just curious. What did the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day look like, and what did the last 30 to 60 minutes of your day look like, and what types of routines do you follow through your day?
I'm
Very high energy.
I'm very passionate, very passionate about what I believe in. There's the key. When I get up in the morning, I'm up basically every morning around 5 a.m.
Right.
Just before I get up, I do about 10 minutes of meditation.
Okay.
And sometimes it's very difficult for people to, because they're so busy and they can be younger and they've got children. Maybe a little easier for me at my age because I don't have the responsibility of family to get up and you know,
Right.
I'm kind of on my own, but I meditate for about 10 or 15 minutes.
How long have you been doing that for?
And I've been doing that for about 15 years. And basically what it is, it goes into silence. And for me, that's where the miracles happen. When I can just be silent and then just breathe, and it's very, very euphoric for me. So I do that for about 10 or 15 minutes. I go downstairs. My dog comes downstairs with me. Raph, my dog. Put him out, put the coffee on, then I do my affirmations. Affirmations is a positive statement in the present tense.
Life changing.
I sit down at my table, my sunroom, and I write out approximately anywhere from 35 to 50 positive affirmations in the present tense to reinforce me to put on my psychological furniture so that I don't allow any negativity, because input controls output. So everything that I've put in to my subconscious mind is all positive. So when I go, I want to exude positive energy, and in order for me to do that, Rob, I work at it.
Right.
Then I leave, I go down to the gym, and then I have a routine.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
Can you give some examples of types of affirmations that you would write down?
Yeah, the first ones I would say, like I can be, okay, today I begin a new life. I'm greeting this day with love in my heart. I will persist until I succeed. Did you know, Rob, I am nature's, and you are, I am nature's greatest miracle.
Yeah.
I'm living this day as if it's my last. I'm mastering my emotions. I laugh at the world. I'm praying for guidance, and I will act now. And I want to bring my good friend, who was a mentor of mine, Bill Nasby, and one of the best ones he ever taught me was process equals joy equals results. I always had a weight problem, and he said to me, one of the biggest problems is you're focusing on the result and you're not enjoying the process. When you enjoy the process, The byproduct is the result. Don't get caught up on the result. Just focus on your process and enjoy your process. And part of that will become part of your great result.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Bill Nasby would have been a top prospector in our industry, did a lot of door knocking.
Yeah, he was known for the system of door knocking.
Right.
He was the king of door knocking. They called him Mr. Knuckles.
Right, Mr. Knuckles.
Knuckles Nasby. Nasby's Knuckles.
Right.
Actually, with Exit, we give out an award each year for the top knuckle, or the top door knocking, and it's called Nasby's Knuckles Award. So fabulous, just a gentleman, and just so much wisdom, and learned so many true nuggets from him, which is wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah.
I kind of cut you off there. You were saying after you do your affirmations, you go to the gym. Is that?
Yeah. As soon as I finish with my affirmations, I get up, and I'm probably at the gym about 6:45. And basically, what I do is I'll do some cardio, which I do 20 to 35 minutes of cardio, and then I do a body part a day. I strength train, and I do a body part a day, and I've been doing that for a long, long time. I've been doing that for many, many, many years, and it's just like brushing my teeth. So, you know, I feel that once I do that, then, and come out of there, just like this morning, for example, just, you know, went into the gym, did my thing, knew I was coming here, came out, the sun shining, and there's just a euphoria, Rob, that I just felt absolutely, you know, it's just like, man, I come out of that gym and I take my first breath, and I can take on the world, and I put so much positive reinforcement in me that I just want to be able to share that and help to make a significant difference in someone's life in a positive way, and want to be able to exude that. But I work at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not. It just doesn't kind. But it's the reward will be there if you persistently and consistently do it.
Yeah, I got that from you for sure.
Yeah, that's it.
And then, so that would be your morning. Do you have an evening routine?
And then in the evening, I would read. And you know what? I would get probably. I should have backed up a little bit and say, you know what? I would get a minimum of 15 minutes, sometimes 25 to 30, depending if I get up a little earlier, depending what I'm, you know. But I love to read, and I read basically. What I'm reading is inspiration, and I read on health. Right. So I've educated myself on, you know, with health and my and I love inspiration. Right.
So are we talking nonfiction, or would you read fiction as well?
No, I wouldn't read fiction. I would read nonfiction. Right. Yeah, and So then I read. So then in the evenings I would do the same thing. I would read probably for a half an hour. I stretch. I stretch for about 30 minutes. Okay. Not like some yoga. I'm not doing a prepared yoga class, but I stretch for about 30 minutes prior to going to bed, and then I would read, and then the reading would just put me out, and then I sleep extremely well. Once I'm gone, I'm just like a Newfoundland dog, Rob. I just turn around, and then I peacefully sleep, because, you know, success to me is peace of mind. So if I go to bed peacefully and bing, and then, but I've worked at it, you know what I mean? I've worked at it in the morning. I'd go through the day. I end my day. I stretch. I think. I read. And I'm reading things that inspire me and that kind of thing. And then I just meditate a little bit more, and then off to sleep I go.
Have you always had a routine, or is that something that came?
You know what? I would say in the last 10 years. That I'm pretty faithful to the routine. I've always been, you know, I mean, I've always worked out. I've worked out since I was a young boy. At 16, I played a lot of baseball, hockey, racket sports. You know what I mean? I was very athletic, blessed with, you know what I mean, like natural athletic skills. So I played a lot of different sports. But in the last 10 years, I've totally elevated my health, my well-being, everything to a whole different level. Right. Because, you know, I'm not a young chicken, right?
So you get a lot of value from your routine, and it's pretty important to have a routine, I guess, at the end of the day. I've heard a quote, it's discipline is freedom.
Like that.
Just having the discipline of knowing what your day is going to be like, doing the same thing, and then that gives you your freedom to do the rest of your day.
That's right. That's right.
Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's a regular day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very fun, and it's very routine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then there's also obviously my job and what I do.
Of course.
Of course.
Right.
But the start of the day, the finish of the day is pretty well the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that I can basically, put the reinforcement in the morning.
Right.
And then at the evening, just so that I can relax and totally,
Right. Everything else will be
sleep
good.
peacefully. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, move on to the next question. My next question is, when you feel overwhelmed or unfocused or have lost your focus temporarily, what do you do? And if helpful, what questions do you ask yourself?
To be honest, what I would do then is I would go right back to basics.
What does that mean?
I would look in the mirror. Here's what I do. I look in the mirror, the first thing, and I'd say, who am I? Who am I? And who am I going to serve today? And that's the core being of who I am. And when I'm doing what you hear me say I'm doing, that keeps me in the sweet spot. You've heard everybody has a sweet spot. So when I'm not there, I know that I'm not in the sweet spot. So basically, Rob, what I have to do is go back to the basics to get into my sweet spot.
Right.
And who am I and what am I doing?
Right.
And I know what my purpose is. And I know my why.
Right.
It's not what I do, how I do it, it's why I do it. And when you know your purpose and then you get off track, the way that I get back on track so that I can get focused is they always say, there's an expression, just go back to the basics. It's like real estate. You're going through and you're doing this and you're getting caught up, and there's technology, there's all kinds of things coming at you when you go back to the basics of what the business is. Right. I remember there's another little quote from Bill Nasby. This is a great little nugget. Yeah. He said to me when I got involved in this business in 2006, McCarron, it's the type of guy he was, Rob. McCarron, don't complicate it. Don't complicate real estate. I just want you to know one thing. Here's what you're trying to do. Here's what real estate agents are trying to do. They're trying to find someone who wants to buy a home or sell a home, Rob, and help them.
It's just that easy.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Is that not the truth?
It's the basics. That's as basic as it gets.
That's the basics as it gets. So if you're out there and you've got, your systems in place that will generate that.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
So.
That's I definitely learned something there. My next question, in the last 5 years, or we can say 1 to 5 years, maybe 10 years, whatever you want. What have you become better at saying no to? So saying no is a thing that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
But what have you become better at saying no to? Whether it's bad business decisions, distractions, invitations, and what realizations or approaches help that?
That's a very interesting question, because I probably have grown more in the last 5 years than I have in most of my life. One of the hardest things I had to do in my life was, believe it or not, because people think I always had the gift of the gab, was to publicly speak. Right. And I don't know if that was self-worth. I don't know what that was, because I had struggled with weight when I was younger. Right. And I don't know if that had to do with self-worth. But basically what I have really worked on is self-improvement and self-reinforcement. And there's a gentleman by the name of Bob McKinnon, who's our director of leadership. Right. I basically had saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and asked me to come down to do a public speaking course. Not only did he ask me to come down to do the public speaking course, he brought me in a couple of days because he wanted me to teach the public speaking course. And that kind of freaked me out, right? Like I'm freaking thinking, you know what? It's one thing for me to be able to do the class. It's another thing for me to teach the class.
Right, because you had put that limitation on yourself.
That was a limited belief that I had, correct? Right. But as a result of that, I have now been able to teach a public speaking course along with the ambassador class, which is the 5 pillars of exit and an exit presentation. And the fulfillment that I get from that as a teacher has really strengthened who I am and what I've actually become. It's because the teacher, right? When the student's ready, the teacher will show up.
Right.
And as a result of that, it's just been absolutely phenomenal. The reward and the fulfillment that I have, where I can see the gift that I have that comes through, and how good I feel when I know that there's that moment and there's that sweet spot. It's a 2-day class. There's always the time in the class that the whole class changes. And for me, it's been very, very overwhelming for me, because it's not only what they become, it's what I've become as a result of that. So it's just, very, very intriguing for me and special, Rob.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
Do you feel like you found your purpose with that, or?
There's no question.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that I'm even doing it still at what I'm doing. And for me to make the significant difference that I want to be able to make within the organization, it's the strength, and I have found that. And I just want to be able to, increase it, and it can be a little bit intimidating for people who have never taken the class, because I know from my own experience how I felt about not wanting to do it and ducking and whatever. But when I stretched myself and put myself in an uncomfortable situation, and then came out through the other side and feel what I've accomplished as a result of that, it's just been, I guess the word would be significant.
Right.
Like, I make a significant difference in me, and also make a significant difference in other people, which is very, very fulfilling and rewarding for me.
Right.
So it's special, really, really special.
Yeah, I've been a part of 2 of those classes, and I always tell people it's really, really hard to explain exactly what it is. But just the 2 times that I've done it, I've come out just completely.
Because there's a lot of emotion in it,
right?
And it's different. How do you really explain emotion? You can't, right? You can't explain the feeling that you get until you've actually experienced it. And then as a result of that, because it's just, once the testimonies from it, that have been basically the same. I've done 12, but the context of the testimony is very fulfilling, because it's exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And so it's special, very, very special.
Right.
Very special.
I got a next question for you. Getting more personal, how has a failure or apparent failure set you up for later success? Do you have a favorite failure? And like we were talking about before, the main fears in life are basically fear of failure, fear of rejection. You told me a long time ago, actually, that the way that you define failure is how you define you. That's what you said?
Yeah.
So I might have got that wrong, but do you have a favorite failure that you look back on that you thought maybe would have been big at the time, but now came to realize that it was one of the better things that happened to you?
Well, I think it's, one of the failures is that I always ducked. I can keep coming back to public speaking, because I feel that he who speaks leads. And I always had a lot inside me that I wanted to be able to bring out. And I felt that I could really do that one-on-one, but to actually, be able to do it with a group of 12 or with the masses, then I struggled with that. But once I stretch myself, that failure of I guess maybe I could call it self-worth. I don't know, Robbie, what it actually is that prevented me from actually doing that. But once that was accomplished, and once that I actually did it, then I fail forward. Right. No fear. Like, fear is just it's just false evidence appearing real. Right. And then when I came from where I wanted to come from, which was come from love, like, there's only 2 emotions. It's fear-based or it's love-based. And once I realized that it was coming from love-based, it neutralizes the fear. So that failure, and I'm thinking, well, yes, that's exactly what it was, Rob. It was only false evidence appearing real to me, because once I went through it and it came from a totally different perspective, then it felt beautiful. It really, really, really felt beautiful.
Wow.
So that's it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
kind of cool.
Yeah. What was it you told me? The way that your relationship with failure defines.
Who you are.
Do you remember?
Me?
Remember how that went?
No.
So
I
that always left an impression on me. You told me that
Okay.
one of the first times.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
no,
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
And that's when I recognized you in the hospitality industry. Yeah. That's
which
right.
I thought was really funny that someone recognized you in the hospital. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, somebody recognized you. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny how things
How
go
the full circle, how it comes around full
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just like to feel that I'm like a talent scout. It's being able to bring the most and the best out of people, and if people have the gift. We all have gifts, right?
Right.
And to be able to, we all specialize in something very special.
Right.
It's being able to dig inside there and brush that hay away and look for that special, that needle in the haystack, right? And what I'm trying to accomplish, and what we're trying to accomplish as a corporation, is to find that person that truly believes in making the difference.
Right.
And maybe not even from a monetary perspective. The monetary perspective is the byproduct of doing it and doing it consistently. And I know that the millennial, for example, they just want to be part of something.
Right.
So and I can feel it when I'm working with these people and see the reward and the feeling that they have when they they really feel elevated to a whole different expectation and a bond, and getting to know people at a whole different level is pretty special. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Really cool.
You talk a lot about feeling. Do you view yourself as an intuitive person, like intuition?
Yeah, I can feel it coming.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about, for me, it's energy, because I reinforce myself positive, and I can feel it and I can read it. I can walk into a room and I can pick up on energy and people and you know what I mean. And then I also know that when I'm in that room, that this is the person that I need to speak to.
Right.
I may go in and talk about a certain subject.
Right.
But if I'm sitting there and I can feel the energy coming from a certain person that really needs to hear what I have to say, or say something to make a significant difference to help their lives, then that's pretty cool too. So that's the path I'll go down, because I know what the purpose is, right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. Normal transition here. Next question is, what is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you have ever made? And this could be an investment of money, time, energy, education, or anything else that you think of. So an investment in your lifetime.
Well, you know what? The best investment that I've ever done is the affirmation principle. And it's ironic, because I know that the founder of our company with Exit Realty has designed an app called Prompter. And by the way, it's non-real estate related. It's basically anybody can download the app. You get 12 affirmations, which you write down. You send in to Prompter, and then it takes 21 days to form a habit. You write them out for 21 days. And on the 22nd day, you receive them, and you receive a new 12. And it continues on and on and on.
Right.
As long as you write the 21 consecutive, that doesn't even have to be consecutive days. If you wrote it, for example, Rob, for 15 days, you went away for 2 weeks, you come back and you complete it the next 6 days, then on the 22nd day you receive it. But what's ironic about this is that the gentleman that owned Joico hair care products, his name was Steve Stefano, and he was all about, it was Steve's, right? Something about these Steves. And he always said to me, power, strength, and happiness comes from within.
Wow.
And another thing he said to me, another great nugget was, Mike, they can take away anything, but they can't take away your potential.
Wow.
You have so much potential, Mike. It's unbelievable within you. So, you know what? Back then, that 35, 40 years ago, Robbie, you could kind of think that's hocus pocus and a little, you know what I mean? But I could see the true value of who this man was and what he believed and how consistent he was. And I worked with him for a long time, and every time that I talked to him, it was reinforcement, and he was there. So that's fine. That was one journey in my life, and then when that journey completed, I had the opportunity to meet Steve Morris. I was attracted to the company because of the values that I had been used to for 35 years. So it really had nothing to do with real estate. Because for me, to get involved in real estate, it was people and systems. And I'm not a real estate agent, but I would feel myself more as a leader than a manager. There's a big difference between a leader and a manager.
Absolutely there is.
Yeah. So a leader does the right thing, and a manager does things right.
Wow.
That's pretty powerful.
That's good.
Right?
That's really
And leader is all about influence. What kind of an influence does your leadership have in order for those people to follow you? Correct? That's basically what I feel.
I don't think you could say that any better, to be honest with you.
Great.
What you mentioned that you like to read. You read daily. How many books a year would you read? If you were to just guess.
I would read a book a month. I would read at least a book a month.
Book a month. Okay.
Probably a book and a half. So I'm probably reading about 18 books a year.
Right.
You know, but I'm also listening to podcasts, and I'm also listening to YouTube. You can Google anything now, anything, and you go on. And I got it a lot from you. Like there's a lot of podcasts that you listen to that you text me, and it's wonderful. Or you get a good nugget, and you say, Mike, you need to listen to this. You just sent me one the other day, and I listened to it, and it was just fabulous. As a matter of fact, I took my cold shower this morning.
Wim Hof.
That's good, man. That's good. It's all good. Wim Hof.
So, being a reader, or I'd say a fairly avid reader, what books have you given the most or gifted to people that you find give people value?
Okay, when you're talking about real estate and you're talking about the sales industry, the book that I would recommend, and one of the best books that I've ever read, and I actually was quoting some of the subtitles of is The World's Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino.
Which you actually gave to me.
So I gave to you, and then you know what I mean. When you understand, like today I begin a new life. I'm greeting this day with love in my heart was the second chapter.
Right.
You know what I mean? I am nature's greatest, a whole chapter on I am nature's greatest miracle.
Right.
Right? That book, when you can look at the subtitles and become what those subtitles are, how could you not be the world's greatest salesman? Right. And then when you plug into a system, you just add the true values of what those subtitles are into the system. It's unbelievable. Right. And another person that I listen to a lot, and I've read a lot of the books. Well, there's two of them actually. There's John Maxwell, Intentional Living, and then I've listened to a lot of Wayne Dyer, and I'm very fascinated by the intentional. Because it's all about with John, it's about significance, and it's all about leadership. And the one word that he always uses in his books about leadership is being an influence. The key word for leadership is influence. So those would be naturally the two books that I would certainly recommend to young real estate agents. And fabulous, just absolutely fabulous.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I'll just say it anyways. But you gave me that book, and probably my first year of real estate. I read that book probably 50 to 100 times.
Really?
Legitimately. Yeah. The scrolls, or at least read one chapter a day. Just kind of reinforce. It's a beautiful, well-written book. And it doesn't even really have anything to do with real estate or sales. It has to do.
But it's the core of as a human being, what you really need to do to be able to make a significant difference and to be able to help people.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Pretty smart. Any other books that stand out? Or?
There's one with Wayne Dyer called I Can See Clearly Now.
Okay.
Because sometimes there's a lot of fog in there, right? And just, the focus is to be able to, it's really interesting because I'm going to just give you a little nugget here. I heard it yesterday in the morning in the gym. I'm standing on the treadmill with this person, said, "Do you know what WAIT stands for?"
Wait.
Yeah.
WEIGH.
W-A...
W-E.
Wait. W-A-I-T. You know what? Say,
Yep.
okay, just wait a minute.
Yeah.
Or wait to do this, and we're going to wait to do that, or wait, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
Yep. Listen to this, Rob. You like this one?
Right.
What am I thinking?
Wow.
So wait, I'm going to do it tomorrow. So like, so I guess the idea is that as soon as you say that, then think about, what am I thinking? Wait till tomorrow. Wait till next week. Wait till, So the person didn't even, they just said it, and I'm thinking, what? Well, there's a good nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah, what am I thinking? So you say that after you've said the word wait. Wait for a minute, wait here, wait, because it's just, and then once you do that, it changes the whole perspective. So I thought that was kind of cool. I just wanted to share that with you.
That's really cool.
I just had heard that yesterday. That was kind of neat. Yeah.
Here's a doozy of one. If you could deliver a message in one sentence, or it could be two sentences, really, but one sentence, but we'll narrow it down to one sentence to millions of people, what would it be? So, basically, if you had a billboard, a giant billboard that everyone could see, or a message that you could spread out to everyone in the world, what message would you do?
I know exactly what I would say, Rob.
I knew you would.
I know exactly what I would say. I would say to always follow your heart. And when your head conflicts with your heart is always right. Because you know how you have that little voice? Maybe I should go across the street, maybe I shouldn't, I'm going to do this. That little voice inside you is your heart telling you no. So they'll say, always follow your gut. When you're saying you're following your gut, that's where your emotions are, within your heart. So that's what I would say. To always follow your heart. And when your head conflicts with your heart is always right. That would be my sentence. That's pretty, that's where I live. I always follow my heart. That's kind of cool.
That's I'll definitely have to think about that one for sure. That's gold, man. That's a nugget.
That's a nugget. There's another one.
That's
There's
my
a
nugget.
nugget.
That's what I like about doing this is, I know you pretty well, but I've already learned so much more.
Cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
Really,
it's nice.
really,
I'm just honored to be here to talk to you, because I know that you have such a great future, and I'm so proud of what you're doing.
Thanks, man.
And who, what I'm more proud? I'm more proud of who Rob Dipiero is and who Rob Dipiero is coming at a young age, because when I can sit here and talk to you, or have one-on-one conversations, and go where I can go with you at your age, it's so beautiful, because I know that you're going to be such an inspiration to a younger generation that really needs to be listening to a Rob Dipiero. So I just want to say that because I know we're here live, and I think that's important.
Thank you.
And it's my pleasure, man. It's my pleasure.
I think I have one more question, but before I do, is there anything else that you wanted to add? Anything that we haven't talked about, or anything that you want to tell?
I think we covered. I think we. There's one thing I know is that the industry is just a beautiful industry. I mean, real estate. You're selling the highest commodity in the world for the greatest return. And for the real estate agents to be truly educated and to try to bring it together, because it's sometimes it can be difficult in the industry, because people are all self-employed, and there's different personalities, and one thing with Exit that we have a universal language, and it's a personality profile called DISC, which basically, if I could say, in the last 12 years, I've learned more about human behavior as a result of that, and I can effectively communicate with people and truly be able to communicate the way they want to be sold. Not being my personality, like I'm an ID personality, very outgoing, very passionate, but if I'm talking to a person who's very reserved, then I have to give them some facts and analyze things and just change my tone and everything. So it's really, really cool, and those are great things that I've learned to be able to effectively communicate with people, and it's been special.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to do some of that as well, and for me, it's just been absolutely life changing, and something that I don't even think is related to sales, but everyone should learn.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and they could, even if they taught it, Rob, in the school system, which would be cool. You know what I mean? If the teacher could effectively communicate with a student,
Yeah.
right, that has
way
a
that
totally
they need
different, that the way that they need to be taught to,
Right.
then would change the whole dynamic of who that student actually is. So that would be kind of cool,
Right.
you know. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So last question, we'll end on this one. Well, I guess I'll make it a two-part question. What are your goals with Exit, if you have goals with Exit, and then maybe if you can just tell me a little bit about Exit's goals as well,
Yeah.
going forward?
Well, for me personally, teaching the ambassador class, my goal is to have every agent or associate within the Exit organization be an ambassador, be a true ambassador, so that, you know, basically what we're trying to find is people that have a heart and that can make a significant difference, and then go out there and take action and actually do it. And our goal with Exit at an international level is to grow, and internationally we're a Canadian-owned company that has flourished in the United States and doing extremely well. In the United States, it started at we've been in business now for 21 years, so that's exciting, and so I really appreciate the opportunity,
Yeah, thanks for
Rob,
doing
to
this,
be
man.
able to come in and share just a few nuggets, and so it's all good.
Well, we'll have to do it again. I'll have another list
we'll
of
have
questions
another
for
plow, so really
That's
appreciate
great.
it, man.
Thanks for doing this, Mike. Thanks for
Yeah.
watching, guys. I hope you got as much value as I did from this. And if you have questions, please, you can call me, comment on the post below, message me, just anything you want, and tell me what you think about the video, and tell me what you think about Mike. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a good day, everybody.